Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhare Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacacharya Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacacharya Srimad Bhakti Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. Jai Namacharya Shahardasta Kur Ki. Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki. Jai Shri Jagannath Pur Dham Ki. Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai, Yamuna Maya Ki Jai, Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru Gauranga.
Yeah, sorry, no verse.
Okay, may I get a book? Please, thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Continue reading 9th canto, chapter 10. The pastimes of Lord Rāmacandra, and we are in text, let's see, 9, 10, 11, yeah. So I can read text number 9 and 10, and we can all recite 11 together, because this is the one with the purport. Okay, second. So text 9, translation. While wandering in the forest, where he accepted a life of hardship, carrying his invincible bow and arrows in his hand, Lord Rāmacandra deformed Ravana's sister, who was polluted with lusty desires, by cutting off her nose and ears. He also killed her 14,000 Rākṣasa friends, headed by Kara, Trishara, and Dushana. Text 10. O King Parikshit, when Rāvaṇa, who had 10 heads on his shoulders, heard about the beautiful and attractive features of Sita, his mind was agitated by lusty desires, and he went to kidnap her. To distract Lord Rāmacandra from his ashram, Rāvaṇa sent Maricha in the form of a golden deer, and when Lord Rāmacandra saw that wonderful deer, he left his residence and followed it, and finally killed it with a sharp arrow, just as Lord Shiva killed Daksha. Okay, now text 11. If you'd like to pull up the text on your devices, you can recite it. Okay. Raksho dhamena vrikavat dipine asamaksham vaideha raja duhitari apayapitayayam bratra vane kripanavat priyaya viyuktaha strisanginam gatim iti patyaya amsh chachara rakshodamen vrikavat vipine samaksham vaideha raja duhitarya paya pitayam bratravane kripanavat priyaya viyukta strisanginam gatimiti patyayam stacharam rakshodamena vrikavat vipine samaksham Vaideha Raja Duhitarya Pitayam Ratravane Kripanavat Priyaya Viyuktam Stri Sanginam Gatimiti Patayam Stacharam Rakshodamena Vrikavat Vipine Samaksham Vaideha Raja Duhitari Apaya Pitayam Bratravane Kripanavat Priyaya Viyuktam Stri Sanginam Gatimiti Patayam Stacharam. Mataji's. Anyone online would like to chant this verse with us?
Hare Krishna. Rakshodamena Vikavad Vipine Samaksham
Samaksham
Vaideha Raja Duhitarya Apayipitayam
Vaideha Raja Pitayam
Ratravane Kripanavat Priyaya Viyuktam Sri Sanginam Gatimiti Pratayam Strachara.
Thank you. Rakshadhamena, by the most wicked among Rākṣasas, Rāvaṇa, Vrikatvat, like a tiger, Vipine, in the forest, Asamaksham, unprotected, Vaidehiraja Duhitari, by this condition of Mother Sita, the daughter of the King of Videha. Apayapitayam, having been kidnapped. Bratra, with his brother. Vane, in the forest. Kripanavat, as if a very distressed person. Piyaya, by his dear wife. Viyuktaha, separated. Stisanginam, of person attached to or connected with women. Gatim, destination. Iti, thus. Patayan, given an example. Chachara wandered. Translation. When Rāmacandra entered the forest and Lakṣmaṇa was also absent, the worst of the Rākṣasas, Rāvaṇa, kidnapped Sītādevī, the daughter of the King Videha, just as a tiger seizes unprotected sheep when the shepherd is absent. Then Lord Rāmacandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakṣmaṇa, as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus he showed by his personal example the condition of a person attached to woman. Translation. It's a long purport. In this verse, the words Tri Sanginam Gatim iti indicate that the condition of a person attached to woman was shown by the Lord himself. According to moral instructions, Grihe Narim Vivajayat, when one goes on a tour, one should not bring his wife. Formerly, men used to travel without conveyances, but still, as far as possible, when one leaves home, one should not take his wife with him, especially if one is in such a condition as Lord Rāmacandra when banished by the order of his father. Whether in the forest or at home, if one is attached to a woman, this attachment is always troublesome, as shown by the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his personal example. Of course, this is the material side of Sri Sangi, but the situation of Lord Rāmacandra is spiritual, for he does not belong to the material world. Narayana Paravyaktat. Narayana is beyond the material creation. Because he is the creator of the material world, he is not subject to the conditions of the material world. The separation of Lord Rāmacandra from Sita is spiritually understood as Vipralambha, which is an activity of the Hladini potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, belonging to the Sringara Rasa, the mellow of conjugal love in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has all the dealings of love, displaying the symptoms called Sattvika, Sanchari, Vilapa, Mucha, and Unmada. Thus, when Lord Rāmacandra was separated from Sita, all the spiritual symptoms were manifested. The Lord is neither impersonal nor impotent. Rather, he is Sachit Ananda Vigraha, the eternal form of knowledge and bliss. Thus, he has all the symptoms of spiritual bliss. Feeling separation from one's beloved is also an item of spiritual bliss. As explained by Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, Radha Krishna Prayana Vikritir Hladini Shakti. The dealings of love between Radha and Krishna are displayed as the pleasure potency of the Lord. The Lord is the original source of all pleasure, the reservoir of all pleasures. Lord Rāmacandra therefore manifested the truth both spiritually and materially. Materially, those who are attached to women suffer, but spiritually, when there are feelings of separation between the Lord and his pleasure potency, the spiritual bliss of the Lord increases. This is further explained in the Bhagavad Gita 9.11. Avaja anantima mudha manushim tanamashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. One who does not know the spiritual potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead thinks of the Lord as an ordinary human being. But the Lord's mind, intelligence, and senses can never be affected by material conditions. This fact is further explained in Skanda Purana, as quoted by Madhvacharya. Would you like to chant this, Srila Prabhu? Please.
Nityapurna sukha jnana sarupo salyato vibhu atosya rama ityakya tasya dukkam kuton vapi tatapi loka shikshartam adukko dukkavartivat antarhitam loka drishta sitam asit smaran iva Gyapanartam punar nitya sambandha swatmanak shriya ayodhyaya vinirgachan savalokasya cheshvaraha pratyakshan tu striya sardham jagamanadir abhyaya nakshatra masaganitam trayodasha sahasrakam brahmaloka samam chakre samastam chitimandalam Ramo, Ramo, Rama iti sarvesham bhavatada sarva ramamayo loka yada ramas trapalayat.
Nice. Thank you, Srila Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada doesn't give a full translation, he just summarizes the meaning. Okay, it was actually impossible for Ravana to take away Sita. The form of Sita taken by Ravana was an illusory representation of Mother Sita, Maya Sita. When Sita was tested in the fire, this Maya Sita was burnt, and the real Sita came out of the fire. And the last paragraph. A further understanding to be derived from this example is that a woman, however powerful she may be in the material world, must be given protection. For as soon as she is unprotected, she will be exploited by Rākṣasas like Ravana. Here, the words Vaideha Raja Duhitari indicate that before Mother Sita was married to Lord Rāmacandra, she was protected by her father, Vaideha Raja. And when she was married, she was protected by her husband. Therefore, the conclusion is that a woman should always be protected. According to the Vedic rule, there is no scope for a woman's being independent. Asa Mākṣam. For a woman cannot protect herself independently. End of the purport to text 11. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatrubhishcha Kripa Sindhubhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvichesha Shrinivari Prashtata Desha Tarine. Quite a lengthy purport. A lot to speak on, but I won't be able to cover everything, unfortunately, with such little time. But I'll try to speak about something which I found to be interesting, and hopefully you'll find it interesting too. I'll speak about this mood of Strisangi from both material and spiritual sides, and whether we as devotees should also embody this mood of longing for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this will be the main topic of today's discussion. But before I begin, I'd like to just go back quickly to this text, the translations, text number 9, and just point out in 10 and point out a few things which are important. Here it says, while wandering in the forest, Lord Rāmacandra, he accepted different hardships, and he was carrying an invincible bow and arrows. And it's described in the Ramayana that he was so quick to arm and shoot that you can notice how he's drawing the bowstring. And also this arrows are golden, and they are compared to the poisonous snakes. So this is something really powerful weapon of Lord Rāmacandra. And it also says here that he killed 14,000 Rākṣasas. And again, if we look at Ramayana, when Kara went with his army to attack Rāmacandra, it took him less than 2 hours to kill 14,000 Rākṣasas. And he did it by himself. Lakṣmaṇa wasn't there. He was with Sītādevī. And one of the warriors survived. His name is Akampana. And he went to Lanka to speak about what happened with Ravana. And Ravana said, I'm going to go and kill Rāmacandra right now. And his warrior said, don't rush. Rama is very powerful. He can destroy the entire universe. The better tactic would be, the better strategy would be if you actually cause him to lament over loss of his wife, Sītādevī. And he agreed. So, okay, that's there. 14,000 Rākṣasas were killed by Lord Ram. That's amazing. Now, next text, number 10, says, O King Parikshit, when Ravana, who had 10 heads on his shoulders, heard about the beautiful and attractive features of Sita, at first he went to Maricha to consult him or ask for his help. But Maricha, knowing who Lord Ram is, because he had contact with him and he was pleading in defeat, Lord Rāmacandra wouldn't kill anyone who would run away from him. So he was with his two warriors, and his sidekicks were killed by Lord Ram, but he ran away. Maricha ran away, so Lord Ram let him continue living. And so Maricha advised Ravana not to do that, not to kill, not to attack, not to try to kill Lord Ram. It would be hopeless for you. And Ravana has 10 heads, and 20 arms and a lot of different scars from different battles that he undergone. So he learned about the attractive features of Sita from Shurpanakha. She told him about that. She told him, he described who Lord Rama and Lakṣmaṇa are and who Sita is. So this agitation of lusty desires came to the mind of Ravana. And eventually he went back to Maricha again and he convinced him that you have to help me. I'm not asking you advice now. I'm commanding you to go and do what's needed, which is to accept the form of a golden deer and attract Rāmacandra. He saw that wonderful deer, left the residence and followed it, and finally killed it with a sharp arrow. And then Maricha yelled the names of Sita and Lakṣmaṇa. Please, Sita, Lakṣmaṇa, help me. And in the voice of Lord Ram. So Lakṣmaṇa, he was with Sita, and because he heard that voice, he knew that it's a trick from the beginning. He knew that this is just Maricha is trying to trick us. He, of course, knew of Maricha as well, that he's capable of such tricks. He's a great yogi. When meeting Lord Rāmacandra, Maricha, he led an ascetic lifestyle. He became an ascetic and he was practicing yoga. So meeting Lord Ram really completely changed his life. And whenever he would hear the name Ram or anything close to it, even when we go outside and see a tree, he would immediately think of Lord Ram. He was so fearful of him. So, yeah, we see here that Lakṣmaṇa, although he was trying to protect Sita, but Sita said that you should go and see what happened. Do not stay here with me. Go ahead and see. Maybe Ram needs help. And she was able to convince him using different arguments, such as, you actually here to enjoy me. You came, stay here with me for that reason. So don't do that. Please go and see what happened to Ram. He's your brother. Anyway, so she convinced him to go. And then Ravana approached Sita in a dress of a brahmana. He was wearing saffron clothes, right? Matted hair. And she, seeing this is a brahmana, she approached him and she bathed his feet, and he was inquiring about what happened, who you are, what are you doing here alone, Sita? You're such a beautiful goddess. Why are you here alone by yourself? And she was responding to why she's here. And eventually, as we know in Ramayana, and here we also will hear. Of course, we don't see that Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, is revealing all the details of Ramayana, but at least the general picture is there. That Ravana will kidnap Sita. He will actually grab her with his left hand by the hair and drag her to Lanka. Okay, so this is what is happening in the terms of the Leela, the pastime. But as I mentioned, I'd like to go into this topic of Stri Sanginam, Stri Sangi. And first thing I'll say is that we know that Lord Rāmacandra is an ideal king in all respects. Ideal king, son, husband. He lived a life of dharma. In a nectar of devotion, he is described as Dhiradhata. So he's naturally grave, gentle, forgiving, merciful, determined, physically attractive, and highly qualified. Those are the qualities of Lord Ram. Of course, just a few of them. The list can go on. And we can spend our whole life trying to describe and understand the qualities of Lord Ram. Maryada Purushottama. There's also Leela Purushottama. This is Krishna appearing in the land of Vrindavan and displaying sweet pastimes with his associates. His name is Leela Purushottam, profoundly sweet and intimate pastimes. And then Prema Purushottam. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who comes to give prema to everyone. Just like we heard this morning when Mahaprabhu was in Varanasi, he was distributing freely, no charge, love of Godhead to everyone. So, in the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we also see that he was exhibiting this symptoms of vipralambha, or symptoms of Stri Sangi. That one example, it's mostly in Anti-Lila in the closing pastimes, when he was in his room in Gambhir, in Jagannath Puri. He was there, and he was in such madness of ecstasy, of love of Godhead, that actually he was rubbing his cheeks against the walls, up and down, left and right, until his cheeks were bleeding. And then devotees were a little concerned about Mahaprabhu, so they appointed someone, a servant, to see after Mahaprabhu there. But although the servant was there, still Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could escape from Gambhira, from that room, through the closed doors. Magically he would do that. And then another example I was thinking is the pastime when he was swimming in the Indian Ocean, mistaking it for Yamuna River, seeing that Krishna is performing this pastimes with the gopis there. He was running and rolling in madness, and then he jumped into the ocean. And then he was in this ocean for quite some time. And the fisherman caught him, and he thought that this is actually a corpse or a dead body. And he wanted to, he wanted to move him, and touched his body on accident. And that love, that ecstasy, the love of God, had went into the heart of the fisherman. And he was chanting Hare Krishna mantra, chanting the names of Hari, Hari. So, and the body of the Lord, as described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, was elongated, and he was changing in size. His limbs were also, or joints were separate. They would separate. And his body was bleached because he was in the ocean for a long time. And he would resemble the internal consciousness. This is a description of his internal consciousness when he would go in such madness and ecstasy. But also he would exhibit semi-external consciousness and external consciousness. Devotees were near Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they would try to chant Hare Krishna mantra into his ears. And then he would, from internal consciousness, he would come to the external consciousness. So, and there are, of course, many more examples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibiting symptoms of this ecstasy in love of God. Vipra means distance, alamba means to attain. Vipalamba means to attain something that is in the distance, something in the mood of longing. Srila Prabhupada spoke about Vipalamba. In one place, this is a letter to Lalita Priya in 1975, May 7th. And he said, we should follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya and the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. They were always serving Krishna in the mood of separation. They never said that now I have seen Krishna. This is the mood of the 6 Goswamis. They always are longing to see Krishna. Where is Krishna? Are you in Govardhan? Are you in Yamuna? Or last night I danced with Krishna. They wouldn't say it like that. No, they were crying, where is Krishna? And they were always searching after him, wondering when they would finally be able to see him. So Srila Prabhupada says we should also desire intensely to see and be with Krishna. But the first thing is to become purified through devotional service. Before we are qualified to resemble such a deep internal mood of searching and longing for Krishna, we should be purified by devotional service, by sadhana bhakti. And then by sadhana we get the mercy, we get kripa. It is not possible otherwise. So keep on helping me to spread this Krishna consciousness movement, following the rules and regulations very carefully, and your life will be perfected and you will see Krishna. So important point, and Srila Prabhupada emphasizes that, all our acharyas emphasize that if we want to try to understand the mood of the 6 Goswamis, the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or to speak of Radha and Krishna, we should be purified through devotional service. But how do we get purification? Is if we try to spread this Krishna consciousness movement, following the rules and regulations very carefully. Rules and regulations are clear. There's an abundant opportunities of service, spreading Krishna consciousness. Sometimes you go to college and you're dressed as a monk, and students, they see you. And like yesterday, I met one student, and she said we have a club, and they were interested in maybe collabing with the temple, interested to have us, speak or lead kirtan. And she has, by good fortune, she's heard of the temple. She's received books before, the Bhagavad Gita, and she's interested to come to the Thursday program. So maybe we'll see that student sometime, hopefully. UCSD. Yeah, some meditation. Yeah, meditation club, spiritual meditation club, wellness, things related to that. And Bhakti Chat, Prabhu distributed the Srila Prabhupada Lamanta yesterday to an enthusiastic student. Hare Krishna. Although the interaction was quite you can say bizarre actually, because the student, he said he's a PhD student, right? He was, it seemingly, I might be wrong, but it seemed like he was a little bit incoherent with what he was trying to say to us. He had a lot of different ideas, and I don't want to make any assumptions, but yeah, sometimes student life is a little bit difficult, so you have to just cope with the environment and the struggles that you go with being a student. So it seemed like he was really facing those struggles and trying to find an alternative solution in life. And he was interested in spiritual paths, in Srila Prabhupada's books, in Srila Prabhupada Lamanta. And he gave a very generous donation yesterday. So we pray that, I think his name's Alex, begins to read and seriously practice Krishna consciousness. He's Gaduli Lamit, yeah. It's not possible otherwise, right? Only devotional service can help us truly to find solutions to our problems. I'm running really short on time, so I'll just say a few more things, and maybe we can open a discussion. I'd like to quote 2 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam in regards to, I spoke a little bit about the spiritual side of this Sri Sangi, and I'd like to speak about the material side of it as well. I'll quote 2 verses. This is Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.8 and Srimad Bhagavatam 7.14.12. So 5.5.8 is the Rishabhadev's teachings to his 100 sons, and very super straightforward, very clear teachings, what he says here in one verse, which, yeah, I should learn the Sanskrit, but I haven't learned yet. But Pumsastriye mituni bhavam eitam tayor mirtori de granti mahu atogriha kshetra sutaptavitar janasya mahoya mahamameti. So this mituni bhavam, attraction for sexual life between female and male, is the basic principle of material existence. Srila Prabhupada says in the commentaries here to this verse that we might be attracted, even sannyasis are attracted to a particular place where they reside, a particular temple. But the strongest attachment is this mithuni bhavam. And mithuni bhavam is the type of attraction that causes a man or woman to be interested in acquiring necessary opulences, to present herself or himself to an opposite sex. For example, we have so many big, the civilization is made of so many big skyscrapers, different buildings, which if you look at actually cause anxiety. If you look at the city from above, you really just feel anxious. It's not at all peaceful. All the traffic, the cars on the freeway, big tall buildings, it's something that causes actually anxiety. So the result of all this, why this manufacture is this mituni bhavam. On the basis of this misconception of material existence, the principle of mituni bhavam, which ties together the hearts of the male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, right? Yamaham this is illusion that I think everything belongs to me. Second verse is ideal family life, a very ironic name of the chapter 14, right, in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.14.12. And Narada Muni speaking saying, one so seriously considers one's wife to be his own that he sometimes kills himself for her, or kills others, including even his parents or his spiritual master or teacher. So this is how degrading it could be, that this attachment to a family member, particularly wife, causes a person to kill himself, to kill others, including his parents or even guru, right? Hanyatva pitaram guram. Pita means family members, or father. Pita means father. Guru means spiritual master. So therefore, if one can give up this attachment to such a wife, he conquers the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is never conquered by anyone. Srila Prabhupada encourages the detachment, proper detachment. It's a big topic as well. I don't have time to cover it. But this is something on the material side of Stvisangi, is that we should seek for detachment, renunciation, especially renunciation in the heart, detachment from family life, any material affairs at some point, but with the strong attachment to Krishna, which I'll read something and conclude here, how we can be attached to Krishna, what is our proper mood. Just a few things. This is in this wonderful book called The Living Name by His Holiness Sachinanda Swami. And he speaks about different topics on how we can help our japa, one of which is Vipalamba. We are beggars. And here he says that the mood of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas is the mood of a beggar. Let me read you something. It's called Govinda necessity. Right? Srila Prabhupada once revealed a secret of Gaudiya Kirtan to his disciples. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's a sannyasi. He has no necessity. Why is he crying? What does he want when he's crying? He has given up the whole world. He became a sannyasi. He doesn't want anything. Why is he crying so much? And he's crying for this Govinda necessity. That is the real necessity. Govinda virahena me. This is Shikshashtakam prayers, one of the verses. Not many people know about the Govinda necessity or want to have the Govinda necessity. Another point is devotion. About devotion is that we should aspire for Vipalamba, this mood of longing, especially learning from advanced devotees, because when we hear them, something that they say will come into our heart. But of course, we have to be at least a little sensitive about spiritual life if we want to hear and if we want to benefit from the association with the advanced Vaishnavas. So one time he's sharing his personal example that he asked one of his godbrothers a question. How can I fertilize my desert-like heart so that the seed of bhakti can sprout? And that devotee recommended him that we should associate with advanced Vaishnavas, and particularly you must read the prayers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It was said to Sachinanda Swami. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written 4 songbooks, replete with deep prayers, capable of touching our hearts and awakening devotional feelings of separation. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur recommended that every Vaishnava should possess these songbooks and read them again and again. And also there's an example of Jagannath Das Babaji, who said that actually love of God is very cheap, just 4 rupees. You just need to buy a few songs by Narottam Das Thakur, and that's it. So one prayer that is from Gitavali about the comment, or this is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur expressing his mood of longing for Krishna. I hope you don't mind if I read this. Is that okay if I read the prayer quickly, or should we stop? Okay. So, what is happening to me as I repeatedly chant the holy names? I have come to understand that I'm Krishna's eternal servant. I have realized that due to my separation from Govinda, I've been entangled in the network of Maya in this material world. And thus, I am suffering material miseries in various ways. So this is the realization of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I'm feeling separation from Govinda. This is why all the sufferings are experienced by me. This worldly life no longer brings me any pleasure. The only thing I want to know is what I must do in order to see Krishna. My eyes are filled with tears which pour down like torrents of rain, like the downpour of monsoon season. Now, one moment appears to be equal to 100 yugas. In fact, I'm simply unable to tolerate separation from Govinda. Looking in every direction, I see the world as completely empty, and this has made me indifferent to life. What should I do? What on earth should I do? I am no longer capable of living. O inhabitants of Raj, please save my life by showing me the beloved Lord of Radha. Accept this request of Bhaktivinoda and give him your association. I cannot tolerate the separation from Krishna anymore. I have only a few days left before the life heirs leave my body. So this is a wonderful mood of this symptoms of longing that we can also try to resemble in our practice, and as advised by His Holiness Shachinand Maharaj, or one of his godbrothers, is that we should associate with this wonderful prayers and not be neglectful, because this is bona fide way to express you longing for Krishna, as exhibited by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes in his lectures he also speaks, not often, but he speaks about feelings of vipralamba, feelings of longing. So this is something on the topic. I know it's not much, but we can stop here, and if you'd like to discuss, Javed Prabhu.
Observation about Rāmacandra and the whole drama of separation from Sita and the whole Ramayana that we know so well, retrieve her and he did. So we learn that wasn't really Sita. That was a false Sita. So Lord Rāmacandra, right? This was he did this whole effort, mobilized Hanuman and everything that went on, and killed Ravana and retrieved Sita, and they triumphantly went back to Ayodhya. And then, so somewhere along the way, of course, the real Sita was returned, and he had the real Sita. But he knew all that. So he's with all this effort, he's teaching. Right, as it's explained there in these verses of the Bhagavatam, this is drama of the entanglement of that attachment can be material attachment, although it's not material. But the ironic thing is that it's not really Sita. And then he's with Sita, and then the whole pastime that there was one of the citizens was critical of him because she had been with another man, with Ravana all those weeks and months, however long it was. And so all of this talk was going on, and Rāmacandra, as the king, didn't want to have that, so he banished her. So he retrieved the false Sita, and he banished the real Sita, both for teaching, ultimately, teaching the difficulties of attachment and so forth. So I thought that was very interesting. That in one sense, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he's teaching through his pastimes for all of us, the evils of attachment.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. This is a short summarization of Ramayana right here by Javed Prabhu. Also, Sita was feeling the same as Lord Ram. She was also feeling that separation. She was crying. And when she saw Hanuman, when he came for the first time, she couldn't trust him fully. She thought maybe he's just Ravana in disguise, But you saw the ring, Lord Ram's ring, and he actually glorified Lord Ram. He was very in this mood of affection, in the mood of separation, in the mood of loving, ecstasy. So, we can see that the devotees, such as Hanuman and Sītādevī herself, she was also crying and chanting Lord Ram, his name. He was crying in separation for him, as well as Lord Rāmacandra. When he saw Lakṣmaṇa for the first time, he burst in tears. Where is Sita? He was speaking to trees. He was speaking to the Yamuna, or I don't know exactly, Yamuna or rivers. He was speaking to rivers, trees, and animals. Where is Sītādevī? Where is Sītādevī? So not Yamuna maybe, but river. Anyway, anything else?
Okay, so first of all, thanks for the lesson. Great things here. Thank you very much. In the beginning of the story, we learned that Lord Rama killed 14,000 in 2 hours. My question is, what's the point of learning of him having such power and what's the application of this teaching in our days? Because I feel like we have at least maybe like a handful of people that would be great if he come here and kill, because they're causing so much trouble in the world and affecting so many people negatively. Why if he has that power, why is he not killing today, or he is killing today? Have he been killing since then? Will he kill in the future? So I'm wondering, what's the point of knowing he can do all those things? What's the application of that teaching in our lives?
Thank you. I'll say something. So, as I mentioned, the Lord Rāmacandra is Maryad Purushottam. He's living a life of Dharma. And if we look at Swayam Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he possesses all different types of opulences, one of which is his strength. He's the strongest. So we can look at this from this perspective, that the Lord can do so many wonderful things, and he can, to protect Dharma, to establish Dharma, he can use his strength in such a way to annihilate those miscreants. And the Rākṣasas are ghastly-looking creatures who would have 2, 3 or more heads, and they would kill the innocent. They would just drink their blood in the forest where Lord Rāmacandra resided. So to protect them, were instances where Lord Rāmacandra, in his youthful days, Vishvamrita Muni, he was performing different yagyas, right, the fire sacrifices, and Lord Rāmacandra would come along and make sure that no one is disturbing these sacrifices. So that's one look at it, is that Lord Rāmacandra is protecting Dharma, and in protection of Dharma, just like we know materially speaking, in order to protect Allah, sometimes violence is necessary. Often violence is necessary. So, and because Lord Rāmacandra is Maryada Purushottama, he's living a life of Dharma, we have no doubts that whenever he kills, it's for the righteous reasons. And now, if we see practically, in this age, there's no such thing as killing to establish Dharma. Why? Because in the age of Kali, people are, the whole world will have to be killed. So the Lord comes as the most merciful incarnation of Godhead, as Prema Purushottam. And he gives prema, he gives love of God by killing the demonic mentality from within, and by the powerful process of prema bhakti, by chanting the holy names of the Lord. So when we chant Hare Krishna mantra, those demonic tendencies and demonic mentality is killed, but safely, without blood and tears, but within us. It's killed, it's annihilated, destroyed within us. So that's something. I don't know if that's satisfying, and if anyone would like to add anything.
So, you mentioned something about maybe if he would kill bad people today, he would kill the entire world. I don't think the people in this room would need to be killed. And I think people in other temples also wouldn't qualify because, I don't know, it doesn't feel like totally right. It's actually interesting that there is like it's a comment, and it's going to breach out a little bit out of the boundaries of knowledge of Hare Krishna and touch into another religion here, but it's a little interesting thing that actually Christianism has a prophecy that a God will come and kill everybody but the righteous. So that actually makes sense to me. And so, yeah, and I think matches with the teachings that we learned here from you, that like he can kill a lot of people, but I think he will be merciful with those like us that come to the temple and worship him. That's a comment.
The real mercy is to give us, of course, upon, if we are so fortunate, is to turn to the Lord, turn to the practice, turn to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, turn to this Hare Krishna, Krishna consciousness, is that the Lord will come and help us to, because we have icha and dvesha, right? We have, Bhagavad Gita explains, we have the desire of, we have envy and we have ideal desires. We have desires to be in a place of the Supreme Lord, in a place of God. And that envious mentality coming from the Supreme Lord and expanding onto other things. So that's what it means by having a mentality that is demoniac, is that we have this competitive mentality in which we want to become, the possessor of all the opulences. We want to steal Sītādevī, we want to enjoy it ourselves, and we don't care what the consequences would be at all. So that type of mentality is, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is destroyed simply by this process of chanting Hare Krishna mantra. So that is the real mercy, is that the process is so simple. And although the Bhagavatam says that every single person in the age of Kali is a Shudra, Kalo Shudra Sambhavan, but still Mahaprabhu gives such a process that there's no material qualifications necessary for you to participate in this movement. Anyone is qualified. Anyone can start chanting Hare Krishna mantra. And when you chant Hare Krishna mantra, that is a sure way to get necessary knowledge, detachment, necessary mercy, to go home, to go back home, back to Godhead in this very lifetime. As Srila Prabhupada said in this letter, I'll read it, the sentence again. We should desire intensely to see and be with Krishna, but first thing is to become purified through devotional service. It is not possible otherwise. In this age of Kali Yuga, we need this practice of chanting Hare Krishna, get purified through devotional activities such as chanting, hearing, and spreading the holy name of God. Anything else from anyone in the room? Chat.
I'll just ask it, and then you can answer it maybe after you close it out. But I was going to ask, what are the characteristics and symptoms of a devotee who is qualified to think about and engage in the process of love and separation to Krishna?
So, as I read in the book, is that we can't really manifest this. In one of the verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, sometimes there's a misunderstanding that when I follow in the footsteps of the Vrajabasis, the residents of Vrindavan, there's an understanding sometimes which is not right understanding, that I will become that resident. I will become the cowherd boy. I will become Mother Yashoda. No, but we follow in the footsteps. We can resemble the same mood, but we can't become that resident ourselves like that.
What I'm asking is, how does one know when it's time, basically?
There's always time. There's always time to long for Krishna.
One thing in relation to this is that we see in the Nectar of Instruction how the last verses are very advanced, and they're talking about residing at Radhakund, which is the most holy place in the universe, and there's a lot of very most high level topics there. So that's there, Nectar of Instruction. Those instructions are there. But one has to follow the first instruction, which the first instruction is Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Adharapasta Vegam. That one has to control all the urges of their mind and speech and all of the different. In other words, one has to be a Goswami. So one first has to learn how to control their senses and mind. And then one has to work on the process of purification, initiation, chanting the holy names, and then purifying the heart. And then there's more and more advancement. When one's heart is purified, then naturally those higher feelings of Krishna consciousness will come. But there has to be those initial steps, initial progress. I mean, of course, it's a big science. I mean, devotees have written books about this, our previous acharyas and seminars. This is just a very basic answer. But like you're holding Madhuri Kadambini, that describes the process and so on. So yeah, it's a science that we should all learn thoroughly.
Thank you for your attention. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.